In this lesson, we will learn how to perform addition and subtraction on signed numbers. By signed numbers, I mean positive and negative numbers. So let's begin with adding a positive number to a number. Now please note that we typically place brackets around negative numbers to avoid confusing the negative symbol for subtraction. Conversely, if a number does not have a sign, then the number is assumed to be positive. So in the first example, we are adding positive 3. In the second example, we are adding positive 7, then positive 2, then positive 6, and then positive 4. Now I should mention that in this lesson, we will use integers to show how positive and negative numbers behave. Just remember that the same rules apply to all signed numbers, that is, integers and non-integers. Now when it comes to adding a positive number to another number, the rule is to move to the right along the number line. For example, if we want to add 2 plus 3, we take the number line and start at 2. We always start at the position of the first number. And from here we move 3 spaces to the right, 1, 2, 3, and end at 5. So 2 plus 3 must equal 5. Similarly, to find the sum of negative 6 plus 4, we begin at the first number, which is negative 6, and then move 4 spaces to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and end at negative 2. So negative 6 plus 4 is equal to negative 2. Finally, to find the sum of negative 3 plus 7, we begin at the first number, negative 3, and then move 7 spaces to the right to end at 4. So negative 3 plus 7 equals 4. Now that we have covered adding positive numbers, you can practice with these sums to see if you get the following results. Next, we will learn how to subtract a positive number from another number. Notice that in these examples, we are subtracting a positive number each time. Now when it comes to subtracting a positive number from another number, the rule is to move to the left along the number line. For example, to evaluate 4 minus 3, we start at the position of the first number, which is 4, and from here we move 3 spaces to the left, 1, 2, 3, and end at 1. So 4 minus 3 equals 1. Similarly, to evaluate negative 1 minus 2, we begin at the first number, which is negative 1, and then move 2 spaces to the left to end at negative 3. So negative 1 minus 2 equals negative 3. Finally, to evaluate 4 minus 6, we begin at the first number, 4, and then move 6 spaces to the left to end at negative 2. So 4 minus 6 equals negative 2. Now if you want some more practice, try these questions here and see if you get the following results. Next, we will learn how to add a negative number to another number. Notice that in each of these examples, we are adding a negative number. Now when it comes to adding a negative number to another number, all we need to do is recognize that adding a negative number is the same as subtracting a positive number. In other words, a plus some negative number b is the same as a minus the positive version of b. For example, to evaluate 2 plus negative 3, we first rewrite it as 2 minus positive 3. Now we already learned how to subtract a positive number. The rule is to move to the left along the number line. So for this question, we start at the position of the first number, which is 2, and from here we move 3 spaces to the left to end at negative 1. So 2 plus negative 3 is the same as 2 minus 3, and this is equal to negative 1. Similarly, to evaluate negative 1 plus negative 4, we first rewrite this as negative 1 minus 4. Then we begin at the first number, which is negative 1, and move 4 spaces to the left to end at negative 5. So negative 1 plus negative 4 is the same as negative 1 minus 4, which equals negative 5. Finally, to evaluate 3 plus negative 7, we first rewrite this as 3 minus 7. Then we begin at the first number, which is 3, and move 7 spaces to the left to end at negative 4. So 3 plus negative 7 equals negative 4. If you want some more practice, try these questions here and see if you get the following results. Finally, we will learn how to subtract a negative number from another number. Notice that in each of these examples we are subtracting a negative number. Now when it comes to subtracting a negative number, all we need to do is recognize that subtracting a negative number is the same as adding a positive number. In other words, a minus some negative number b is the same as a plus the positive version of b. So for example, to evaluate 2 minus negative 3, we first rewrite it as 2 plus positive 3. Now we already learned how to add positive numbers. The rule is to move to the right along the number line. So we start at the position of the first number, which is 2, and from here we move 3 spaces to the right to end at 5. So 2 minus negative 3 is the same as 2 plus positive 3, and this is equal to 5. Similarly, to evaluate negative 1 minus negative 4, we first rewrite it as negative 1 plus 4. Then we begin at the first number, which is negative 1, and move 4 spaces to the right to end at 3. So negative 1 minus negative 4 equals 3. Finally, to evaluate negative 3 minus negative 1, we first rewrite it as negative 3 plus 1. Then we begin at the first number, which is negative 3, and move 1 space to the right to end at negative 2. So negative 3 minus negative 1 equals negative 2. If you want some more practice, try these questions here and see if you get the following results. Alright, that concludes part 1 of a 2-part series on operations with signed numbers. In this lesson, we learned how to add and subtract signed numbers.